As the landing gear of our ship made contact with the surface of Valoria, an exhilarating jolt shot through my body. I, Captain Emile Roche, had led my team into the unknown, and the moment we'd been anticipating had finally arrived. Through the cockpit's viewport, I caught my first glimpse of the alien landscape. The sky was a mesmerizing shade of violet, streaked with wisps of gold clouds that danced like ethereal spirits. Below us, sprawling fields of luminescent flora stretched as far as the eye could see, their colors shifting in the soft light of the distant sun. "Look at that!" Claire Dubois, our biologist, exclaimed as she peered over my shoulder. Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of wonder and scientific curiosity. "This could be an entirely new ecosystem. We need to document everything." "Let's get the scans running," I replied, unstrapping myself from my seat. "Antoine, how's the equipment holding up?" Antoine Moreau, our engineer, was already busy at the console. "Everything's functional, Captain. I'll initiate the atmospheric analysis while you and Claire begin your exploration." "Perfect. Claire, grab your gear. We'll head out in 10, I instructed, feeling the rush of adrenaline course through me. I could sense the excitement in the air. This was a moment that would be etched in the annals of human history. As we disembarked, the ground beneath us was surprisingly soft, almost spongy, and it emitted a faint hum that resonated in my bones. I took a deep breath, inhaling the strange, sweet scent of the alien flora. The atmosphere felt charged, as if the very air was alive with secrets waiting to be uncovered. "Emile, look at that." Claire pointed towards a distant ridge, where colossal stone formations jutted out against the horizon. They were unlike anything I had ever seen, towering like ancient sentinels. Those structures could be remnants of an advanced civilization. "Let's investigate," I said, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. As we made our way across the vibrant landscape, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, but I dismissed it, attributing it to the sheer novelty of our surroundings. Hours passed as we trekked further into the heart of Valoria. The beauty of this world was overwhelming, yet eerie in its silence. Just as I began to wonder if we'd find anything significant, Claire suddenly stopped in her tracks, her expression shifting from awe to disbelief. "Emile, look!" she shouted, pointing to the ground. There, partially buried in the earth, was an enormous skeleton. Massive bones that seemed to whisper tales of a forgotten era. My heart raced as I approached the relic, the enormity of it striking me like a physical blow. Could it be? Claire knelt beside a colossal rib, tracing her fingers along its surface. "These bones are unlike anything we've seen. This could be evidence of a species that once dominated this planet." I scanned the area, the weight of the discovery settling over me. "What do you think they were? Titans of some kind?" "Perhaps," she mused, glancing up at me with a mix of excitement and fear. "If they were capable of such size, their technology must have been unimaginable. We need to document this immediately." As we worked, I couldn't help but feel a shiver run down my spine. What had happened to these beings? What had brought them to extinction? I wanted to voice my concerns to Claire, but the thrill of discovery consumed us both. That night, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I found myself back in the ship, poring over the initial scans we had taken. The data was promising, but something caught my attention, a pulse of energy emanating from a nearby cave system. It flickered on the screen like a heartbeat, beckoning me to explore further. I leaned back in my chair, contemplating my next move. "We should investigate this cave tomorrow," I muttered to myself, oblivious to the shadows lurking within my own crew. I had no idea that not everyone shared my vision of exploration. The thrill of discovery was intoxicating, but beneath it lay a current of unease, a whisper warning me that the secrets of Valoria might not be the only thing waiting to be unearthed. As I stepped into the cave, a shiver ran down my spine. The air was thick with an unnameable energy, and the faint glow of bioluminescent fungi illuminated the walls, casting eerie shadows that danced like specters. "Stay close, everyone," I instructed, my voice echoing slightly in the vastness of the underground chamber. Claire was at my side, her expression a mix of awe and trepidation as she scanned the intricately carved walls with her flashlight. "Look at these carvings," Claire breathed, kneeling to examine a particularly detailed depiction of what appeared to be titans. They towered over smaller figures, their features regal yet haunting. "It's like a history book etched in stone. They must have been a remarkable civilization." Antoine, ever the skeptic, scoffed. "Or a warning." This could be a record of their downfall. We shouldn't romanticize them. He stepped closer to the walls, running his fingers along the cold surface. But I can't help but wonder if there's technology here that we can use. Technology? Claire challenged, standing up. You mean to say we should take something from this place without knowing the consequences? We don't even understand how they met their end. Antoine shrugged, his eyes gleaming with a manic curiosity. But what if we could enhance ourselves? Imagine the possibilities. We could push the boundaries of humanity. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach at his words. Antoine, we have no idea what these titans were capable of. Their downfall could have been a result of their own ambition. We're treading on dangerous ground here. Ignoring my warning, Antoine moved deeper into the cave, his mind racing with ideas. We need samples. We need to understand their technology, he insisted, pulling out a scanner from his pack. If we can find something that interacts with human DNA, we could be on the brink of evolution. I exchanged a worried glance with Claire as Antoine began to scan the walls. The tension between us was palpable, and I could feel the chasm of difference in our perspectives growing wider. As we ventured further, the cave opened into a vast chamber filled with glowing artifacts that pulsed softly, almost as if alive. My heart raced as I approached one of the larger objects, a crystalline structure that seemed to resonate with an otherworldly hum. What is this? I murmured, reaching out tentatively.
Careful, Emile.
Claire warned, her voice laced with apprehension. We have no idea what might happen if you touch it. But before I could retract my hand, a surge of energy coursed through me as my fingertips brushed the surface. Instantly, visions flooded my mind. Images of titans in their prime, their cities sprawling under a vibrant sky, and then a cataclysmic event that shattered everything. I saw chaos, destruction, and the very ground beneath them giving way, swallowing their civilization whole.
Emile. Emile.
Claire's voice cut through my vision, pulling me back to reality. I stumbled back, breathless, and fell against the cold stone wall, my heart racing. Did you see something? She pressed, concern etched on her face. I think I did. My voice trembled, struggling to articulate the weight of what I had witnessed. They faced something catastrophic. It was as if their own power turned against them. Antoine's eyes widened with intrigue rather than fear. What if that power is what we can harness? What if we can avoid their mistakes? No, Antoine. Claire snapped, stepping between him and me. We need to leave now. We're playing with forces we don't comprehend. But Antoine's gaze was already fixed on the glowing artifacts, a fervor igniting within him. You're both being short-sighted. We could be at the forefront of a new era. Imagine the advancements in medicine, in human capability. I felt a surge of frustration. And at what cost? We don't even know if we can control what they created. Antoine scoffed. Fear is what holds humanity back. If we don't seize this opportunity, we'll never know what we could achieve. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. I could see Claire's resolve hardening, but Antoine's ambition had become a force of its own, clouding his judgment. I knew we had to tread carefully, but I also felt the weight of discovery pressing down on us, an intoxicating mix of fear and excitement. As we stood in that cave, surrounded by the remnants of a lost civilization, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were on the precipice of something monumental, yet perilous. The Titans had left behind a legacy, but it was up to us to decide how, or if, we would honor it. As the remnants of the Titans loomed over me, I felt the weight of their legacy pressing down. The vision I had experienced was still vivid, flickering in my mind like a dying star. I needed to share it, to make sense of what I had witnessed. Claire was my first choice. She had always been the voice of reason, the grounding force in our chaotic expedition.
Claire.
I called out, my voice echoing through the cavern. She turned from examining a peculiar carving, her brow furrowed in concentration. Emile, what is it? She asked, her tone shifting from curiosity to concern as she approached me. I saw something terrible, I began, my voice trembling slightly. When I touched that artifact, it showed me their end. They were powerful, and yet, they fell. There was a cataclysm, Claire. A disaster that they couldn't escape. Her eyes widened, reflecting a mix of fear and intrigue. What do you mean? Was it a war? A natural disaster? All of it, I think, I replied. struggling to piece together the fragmented images in my mind. I saw a great light, a surge of energy that consumed everything. It was beautiful and horrifying all at once. I felt their despair, their realization that they had become their own undoing. Claire's expression shifted. I could see the gears turning in her mind. This technology, it's not just a tool, Emil. It's a legacy. It can change us, but at what cost? We have to be careful. I nodded, my heart heavy with the implications of her words. Antoine doesn't see it that way. He's obsessed with harnessing it for himself, to elevate humanity. It's dangerous, Claire, if he continues down this path. I know, she interjected, her voice firm. We cannot let him manipulate this power. It's not just about us anymore, it's about the future of humanity. We're standing on the brink of something we don't fully understand. As we spoke, I could feel a sense of urgency creeping in. I caught sight of Antoine in the distance, his silhouette framed against the glowing artifacts. He seemed entranced, murmuring to himself as he studied the technology that pulsed with an otherworldly light. Emil, we need to confront Antoine, Claire said, determination etched in her features. We have to show him the reality of what we're dealing with. Before I could respond, we heard a sudden crack, like thunder resonating through the cavern. Instinctively, we turned our heads toward the source of the sound. The air grew thick, charged with an energy that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Did you feel that? I asked, my pulse quickening. Claire nodded, her eyes darting around nervously. It's almost as if the cave is alive, reacting to our presence. We need to be cautious. Just then, Antoine came striding towards us, an excited glint in his eyes. You two need to see this, he exclaimed, his voice filled with an unsettling enthusiasm. I figured out how to tap into the energy source. We can enhance our cognitive abilities. Imagine what we could achieve. Antoine, stop. Claire said, her voice rising. You don't understand the risks. The Titans perished because of their own hubris. We shouldn't be meddling with forces beyond our control. He waved his hand dismissively. You're being naive. This is an opportunity. We could transcend our limitations. Why settle for mediocrity when we can become so much more? I stepped forward, trying to ground the conversation. Antoine, listen to us. This isn't just about ambition. It's about survival. We've already seen the consequences of underestimating this place. At that moment, the ground trembled beneath us, a deep rumble echoing through the cavern. I stumbled, catching myself against a nearby wall. The glowing artifacts flickered ominously, their light pulsating like a heartbeat. What was that? I gasped, looking around in panic. Antoine's face twisted with a mix of excitement and defiance. It's a sign. The Titans are telling us we're on the right path. No, Antoine. It's a warning. Claire shouted, but her voice was lost in the cacophony of shifting earth and resonating energy. The cave seemed to respond to our confrontation, the walls vibrating in a symphony of discontent. I felt a chill run down my spine, as if the very spirits of the Titans were rising around us, urging us to leave. Emil, we should get out of here. Claire urged, her voice rising above the chaos. But Antoine stood his ground, a manic gleam in his eyes. I won't give up. This is our chance to unlock the mysteries of the universe. I could see the divide forming between us, the tension palpable, a fracture that threatened to split our team apart. I exchanged a worried glance with Claire, who mirrored my fears. Antoine, please. I pleaded. We can't afford to ignore what's happening. We need to leave now. But it was already too late. The cave was reacting, and the Titan spirits were restless, warning us that we were meddling with forces unimaginable. The air inside the cave felt thick, almost electric, as we gathered around the remnants of what could only be described as a forgotten world. I could sense the unease among my team, the way their eyes darted nervously, as if the shadows themselves were alive and whispering secrets we were not meant to hear. The bizarre occurrences had taken a toll on our morale. Equipment vanished overnight, strange noises echoed through the tunnels, and Antoine, once a vibrant part of our team, had begun to isolate himself, his focus consumed by the Titan's technology. Emil, Claire said, her voice barely above a whisper, we can't keep ignoring what's happening. This place, it feels wrong. She wrapped her arms around herself, as if the chill in the cave was seeping into her bones. I nodded, glancing around at the faces of my crew, each marked by a mix of fear and determination. I know, Claire. But we have to stay focused. We came here to understand the Titans, to uncover their history. My voice felt heavy with the weight of our mission, but I could feel the cracks in our unity starting to widen. That night, the cave trembled with an unsettling rhythm, a low rumble that reverberated through the rock and into our very souls. I lay awake, staring into the darkness, listening to the distant echoes of our own fears. Then a sound, a scraping, shuffling noise that sent my heart racing. I sat up, adrenaline coursing through me, and saw shadows flitting past the flickering light of our campfire. Antoine. I called out, hoping to rouse him from whatever obsession he had buried himself in. The darkness seemed to swallow my voice, and for a moment, I thought I might be alone. But then he appeared, his face pale and drawn, eyes wild with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. "Emile, you have to see this!" he exclaimed, practically dragging me toward a wall of the cave. "The technology, it's responding to us. I can feel it. We're on the brink of something monumental." "Antoine, you need to calm down. We can't keep pushing forward without understanding the consequences," I warned, feeling the tension between us crackle like the air before a storm. "We don't know what this technology is capable of." He scoffed at my warning, dismissing it with a wave of his hand. "You don't understand, Emile. This is our chance to evolve, to transcend humanity as we know it. You're holding us back with your caution." I looked at him, searching for the man I once knew, the man who shared my passion for discovery. And what if we unleash something we can't control? The Titans fell for a reason, Antoine. We need to learn from their mistakes. For a moment he hesitated, and I thought I saw a flicker of doubt in his eyes. But then it vanished, replaced by a fierce resolve. "You just don't get it. They left this for us, Emile. We're supposed to continue what they started." As the night deepened, the cave began to tremble again, more violently this time. The ground shook beneath our feet, and I felt a primal fear grip me. "Claire, get everyone ready to move," I shouted, my voice echoing off the walls. But before we could react, a violent tremor split the ground, sending us sprawling. Rocks tumbled from above, and I heard Claire scream as a section of the cave began to collapse. "Run!" I yelled, my heart pounding in time with the chaotic rhythm of the quake. We scrambled to our feet, the cave shifting around us like a living being. I spotted Claire, her eyes wide with terror as she clung to the rock wall. "Emile, we need to get out of here." I reached for her, but Antoine was already darting past me, his eyes locked onto something glowing amidst the chaos. "Wait, Antoine!" I shouted, but he was already moving, reaching towards one of the artifacts that pulsed with an otherworldly light. "Antoine, no!" Claire cried, but he didn't seem to hear us. He snatched the artifact, cradling it in his arms as if it were the key to immortality. The cave continued to tremble, and I could see the fear etched on Claire's face as she grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the exit. "Emile, we have to go," she urged, her voice rising above the cacophony of falling stone. I hesitated, torn between my duty to protect my team and the haunting allure of the artifact that Antoine had taken. But there was no time to think. The cave was collapsing around us, and I felt the weight of the moment pressing down on my chest. "Let's go," I shouted, and together we fled, leaving behind the remnants of a civilization that had once reached for the stars, now buried beneath the weight of its own ambition. As I sat at the makeshift table in our base, the dim light flickering from the small generator, I couldn't shake the sense of dread that hung over us like a heavy fog. The artifact lay between Claire and me, pulsating with an energy that seemed almost alive. "What do you think it is, Emile?" Claire asked, her brow furrowed as she leaned closer, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the object. "I don't know," I admitted, running a hand through my hair. "It could be a power source or a weapon. Either way, we need to be cautious." I picked it up gingerly, feeling a warmth radiate from it. The intricate designs on its surface seemed to shift and swirl, almost as if they were alive. Claire studied it intently. The Titans must have understood something we don't. This could change everything, or destroy us. Her voice was steady, but I could hear the underlying worry. Just then, Antoine burst into the room, his face alight with a manic energy that sent a chill down my spine. "You two need to see this. I've been working on some calculations." He trailed off, eyes darting between us and the artifact. Antoine, we were just discussing the artifact, I warned, wanting to keep him at bay. We need to be careful. Careful? Emile, this is our chance. His voice rose in pitch, almost frantic. We can use it to enhance human capabilities. Imagine what we could achieve. No more diseases, no more weaknesses. Claire stood up, her expression firm. And at what cost, Antoine? You don't understand the forces we're dealing with. We can't just play God. His laughter was unsettling, echoing in the small chamber. Play God? Claire, that's exactly what we can do. The Titans left this for us for a reason. We're meant to evolve. I stepped forward, anger boiling beneath my skin. You're being reckless. This isn't some game. We don't know what that artifact is truly capable of. But Antoine was undeterred, his eyes wild with ambition. You don't get it, do you? This is the future. I've already set up an experiment. All I need is just a little more power. Before I could stop him, he reached for the artifact. My heart raced as I shouted, "No, Antoine, don't." It was too late. He activated the device, and a surge of energy erupted from it, illuminating the room with a blinding light. A deafening roar filled the air, and the ground trembled beneath us. I shielded my eyes, but I could feel the heat radiating off the artifact.
Claire.
I screamed, my heart pounding. When the light faded, I rushed to her side. She lay on the ground, gasping, her hand clutching her side where she had been thrown by the force of the blast. "Are you okay?" She looked up at me, pain etched across her face. I think so. Just hurt." My eyes darted to Antoine, who was staggering back from the chaos he had unleashed. The equipment around us was flickering and smoking, alarms blaring in protest. "What have you done, Antoine?" I shouted, my voice thick with fury and disbelief. He seemed to come to his senses, his expression changing from manic glee to horror. I was just trying to harness it. I thought I could control it." "You thought?" I seethed, feeling the weight of the moment crashing down on us. "This isn't about control. You've put us all at risk." Antoine's gaze shifted to the artifact, which now lay on the ground, crackling with residual energy. "But we can't let it go to waste. We need to use it." "You don't understand." Claire interrupted, her voice rising. "This isn't a tool. It's a legacy. We're tampering with powers that could destroy us." Antoine's eyes darkened as he looked back at us, his ambition morphing into something darker. "You're both scared. Scared of what we could become. But I won't stop. Humanity deserves this chance." In that moment, I knew I had to intervene. "You're wrong, Antoine. This isn't evolution, it's madness. If you proceed, you'll bring destruction down on us all." His face twisted into a snarl. "Then you'll have to stop me." I took a deep breath, adrenaline coursing through my veins. "I will do whatever it takes to protect Claire and the rest of the team." The tension in the air was palpable, a storm brewing between us, fueled by ambition and desperation. I steeled myself, ready for whatever came next, knowing that the fate of our mission, and possibly humanity, hung in the balance. The cave echoed with the remnants of our past, a haunting silence now filled with tension. I stood across from Antoine, the once enthusiastic engineer now twisted by the very power he sought to control. The glow of the artifact pulsed between us, casting eerie shadows on the walls, a stark reminder of the danger it represented. "Emile, you don't understand," he shouted, his voice cracking with a mix of fervor and desperation. "This is our chance to transcend. We can harness this power to evolve beyond our limitations." "Evolve? You mean destroy." I shot back, my heart racing as I took a step closer, desperate to reach the man I once admired. "You've lost sight of what this technology truly is. It's not a gift, it's a curse waiting to be unleashed." Claire, still recovering from Antoine's reckless experiment, emerged from the shadows, her voice shaky but resolute. "Emile is right, Antoine. You think you can control it, but look at what it did to you. This obsession will lead to our extinction, just like the Titans." Antoine's expression shifted, a flicker of doubt crossing his features. "You're both wrong. This is our destiny. We can become gods." His eyes darted to the artifact, a wild glint that sent chills down my spine. "I can't let you take this away from me. I won't." I felt the weight of our choices pressing down on us. Antoine, please. You don't have to do this. We can find another way, a safer way. I reached out, hoping to pull him back from the edge. Think of what we came here for, the exploration, the knowledge. Not this madness. He hesitated, his breath hitching as if my words were piercing through the haze of ambition that clouded his judgment. But, what if we're on the brink of something extraordinary? What if the Titans wanted us to discover this? Or what if they wanted us to learn from their mistakes? Claire interjected, stepping closer, her eyes pleading. You're playing with forces beyond your comprehension. We can't rewrite humanity's fate without understanding the consequences. The air crackled around us, the artifacts glow intensifying, feeding off Antoine's escalating emotions. No, you don't get it. I can control it. His voice rose in a fever pitch, and in that moment, I saw the man I once knew slipping away. I will prove you wrong. Without warning, he lunged toward the artifact, desperation fueling his movements. Antoine, stop. I shouted, lunging forward in an attempt to restrain him. But it was too late. As his hands grasped the glowing surface, a blinding light erupted from the artifact, illuminating the cave in a surreal brilliance. Antoine, no. Claire screamed, but her words were drowned out by the hum of raw energy. The ground trembled beneath us, and I felt the shockwave push me backward, knocking the wind out of my lungs. In that moment of chaos, Antoine's eyes widened with realization. What have I done? His voice broke, the arrogance replaced by genuine fear as the energy surged around him, swirling like a tempest.
Émile. Claire.
Help me!
Antoine.
I shouted, reaching out, but the energy coiled around him, pulling him into its core. The light grew blinding, and I shielded my eyes as a deafening roar filled the cave, drowning out all reason. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the light imploded, leaving behind a profound silence. I blinked against the darkness that followed, my heart pounding in my chest. I looked around, dazed, and found Claire at my side, her expression a mix of horror and relief. Is it over? She whispered, her voice trembling as she scanned the debris around us. I nodded slowly, my heart heavy with the weight of what had just occurred.
His corner.
The reality of our loss settled in, a bittersweet reminder of the cost of ambition. With the cave beginning to crumble around us, I turned to Claire. We need to get out of here. Now. The wall shook violently, dust and debris falling from above as we sprinted toward the exit, the darkness of the cave swallowing us whole. We burst into the open air just as the entrance collapsed behind us, sealing the secrets of the Titans within. I collapsed to my knees, gasping for breath, the night sky sprawling above us, speckled with stars. Claire knelt beside me, her hand resting on my shoulder, grounding me in the moment. We have to protect what we've learned, I said, my voice hoarse. The knowledge, the technology, it can't fall into the wrong hands again. Claire nodded, determination etched on her face. We'll keep it safe, Émile. We'll make sure that the legacy of the Titans isn't repeated. We owe it to Antoine to learn from this. As we sat beneath the vast expanse of the universe, I felt a flicker of hope amidst the shadows of our past. The future of humanity lay before us, and together, we would navigate its complexities, ensuring that ambition never again eclipsed our humanity.